general section meeting notes. Just first things first. So yeah, good evening. Welcome to the North East section meeting. I'm Chris Wilson, section member and chair for tonight's meeting. Domestics, in the event of fire alarm will sound and evacuate via nearest exit. Follow green sign and regroup in front of the car park. Phones, if everybody could switch their mobile phones and any other communication devices to silent and or off. And toilets are just out of this room to the left on the right hand side. If you haven't already done so, please will you sign the attendance register, which is at the front of the room and then pass around. So yeah, this allows us to keep a regular bit of attendance at all of these meetings. Tonight's meeting is a hybrid session, so on Teams, so we've got people who have joined us virtually. The session will be recorded, so those of you who are online, can you please mute your microphones and turn off your cameras. And for those online, please add your questions to the chat. These will be read out at the end of the presentation. And for those in the room, please mute until the end of the presentation tonight. In terms of PWI national business, there are seminars planned for this year. So on the 7th of May, we have at the Institute of Civil Engineers, we have one on water management on railways. What does it mean to me? 6th of June is the annual general meeting, and Wednesday, the 2nd of July, the electrification and innovation seminar. Section business for no, the annual section quiz will be held on the 14th of June in Carlisle. Arrangements are now in place for a members team, and if any volunteers can fill at the end of the session, please. There are also 2 vacancies, section chairman and section secretary. And if there's any other business, or
yeah, there is one. There's Major Ian Hughes has asked to stand down from the committee, which we've accepted. However, Chris has volunteered to stand in his place. So what I'm proposing is that we co-opt Chris as a committee member for the time being, and when we have the section AGM later in the year, we vote Chris in as a full-time committee member. So if anybody has any objections, can you raise them out? If not, I propose that we vote Chris onto the section committee. Okay, I'll take that as thanks for Chris. Thank you.
Out of the frying pan and into the fire. So for tonight's presentation, we're going to hear from Lee Stevens, Operations Director of Smart Tracks, and Alex Canizo.
That's right.
Project Manager for Network Rail, who are going to talk to us on Waybeam renewals in sustainable materials for Bridge Tango Whiskey Charlie 1-18 across the River Aire. Thank you.
Yeah, so I'm Lee. Yeah, this is Alex. Yeah, so this is a renewal we've done straight after Christmas. Yeah, I come in to help the person rail and Network Railworks deliver his job. So just quickly agenda what I'm going to run through today. I've got the location where it is, the specification that will get off Network Rail, the RAM team, a bit of planning, design, methodology of it, and the last bit, the sustainability of what we're using. So the location of the bridge is just highlighted in the yellow there. Yeah, it's on the Templehurst Junction, Bridge 18 on the Selby branch on the TCW. Yeah, runs adjacent to the East Coast Main Line. So 2 heads of the East Coast Main Line. Yeah, and then that's where we're all here. That's your bridge. Yeah. So with Network Rail, you get a bit of a specification from the RAM team. Yeah, that's just a bit of a highlight of it. So when we got the spec, we broke it all down to see what materials were needed, and then Alex's team ordered the Waybeams and that from Secretary, and that's just a quick breakdown of what materials we used. We had 280 metres of new 113-pound rail that were installed, 244 G44s, which were built up in the panels, which I'll go through a bit later on. Then you've got your 26 FFU composite bearer beams. That's a bit that goes on the bridge. Then on them we'll put some LGN base plates, LN base plates. We installed all new guardrail on it. 2 new gathering panels that were put either side of the bridge. And then we had about 60 new sticker-suit composite sleepers on the ballasted section of the bridge. Yeah. And during the planning stages of it, yeah, we had 3 main issues with it. Single line working, which it makes it a lot more difficult for me to install it. Then ALO working close to the East Coast Main Line. So during this period, the blockade of the East Coast Main Line was open all the time. Full line speed, 120 mile an hour flying past the trains. And then the third one was the track circuit issues that we had, which I'll explain on the next couple of slides. Which, if we go past a certain signal, it interlocks and knocks out the East Coast Main Line. Oh, wait, oh, damn. So for the single line work and stuff in the ALO, we decided to go with the key-off crane to install some of the section of the track, the section outside of the out of the bridge, where it was too close to the East Coast Main Line for anything, and that was done on a Saturday night, where we just got a possession of the East Coast Main Line, which further on in the methodology I'll show you. And this was the S&T issues that we had. So if you see the bridge there, yeah, if you go past Yankee 872 signal or anything over this way, it knocks out the East Coast Main Line. So it turns that signal there to danger. Yeah, so what the S&T team had to do was basically move the track circuit from here up to the end to allow work to carry on working on the bridge. So for that, what we've done is the team come out and done a frigging, which frigged the signal, moved the track circuit away, and then we had to place 2 concrete blocks at the limits of the track, at the limits just down here, to stop any runaway risk for any machines or the key-off or anything running down there. So that was a big part of the scheme we had to do, the scheme project for the S&T, the new design and all that part. Then we went into the design stage, so that's the main design, yeah, which we got from PBH. Yeah, so when we looked at the design, we thought, oh, let's split it into 3 sections. So, because we started the possession on a Friday night, wasn't it? Yeah, so we started the Friday and we couldn't get access to basically this top end until the Saturday night when we got the East Coast Main Line. So we thought we'll get this section done first, then we'll do that section, then we'll jump onto the bridge. So I've just split it down. So that's your first section I've done, which was install a new gathering panel. Yeah, so that was all competent sleepers, sticker-suit timbers. And then we put some geocell separation in with some sand and bottom ballast and that, which I've got pictures of later on. And stage 2, this was a section where, again, we've got some composite bearers on the ballasted section of the bridge. So that's where your bridge finished there. Then we had the gathering panel, and then that top end there was all your plain line panels, just your normal G44 concrete sleepers. And this was a challenging bit. Yeah, that was a new bridge. Yeah, so that's all your new Waybeams and everything on there, which I've got the methodology coming up with what we've done. Also, to go with that, the track design, yeah, we've got several designs off the civils team, which I couldn't put them all on here, but that's just a bit, some of them we've got the beam locations. So we've got the total exact locations of the beams and the joints, the beam sizes, the stuff for the whole new holding down arrangements, then all the packing plates and how many packing plates we needed to put in each beam. And then we had the guardrail arrangements. We also had some of the issues for the floating ends. So the methodology of the first one, yeah. So the first section that was done, yeah, was the gathering panel. So we removed the gathering panel with the key off, yeah. And then we dug the formation and we put this geocell down. Once we got the geocell down, yeah, we'll put some sand in, give it a compaction, put your arm back down on it, yeah, then bottom ballast. And then we'll have to lift this new gathering panel in with the key off crane, with it all being single line working. Yeah, that was the only way we could have got the panel in. Then we tied it all in, and then we hung fire, wait for Saturday night. Yeah, so Saturday night was the coldest night I've ever worked on the railway for a long, long time. Yeah, so again, we had to use a key off crane because, as you can see on this panel, all this is all single line, and then East Coast Main Line just runs adjacent to it. So we got possession of that on the Saturday night for 8 hours, which then we removed all the old plain line track, brought it all back, took the other side of the bridge, and then we had to install all the new tracks with new panels, new 60-foot panels. So then we installed all the new 60-foot panels, tied in the new Sikasui stuff on this bottom bit. These are the new Sikasui timber panels, yeah, with a new gathering panel on it. And then during the day, we come in, we've done the top ballasting with ALO machines. So I had the ALO machine all set up so you could run up and down, top the ballast up. And then later on in the weekend, we brought the tamper in and it tamped the whole site. And the main bit was the bridge, yeah. So this was where we had to take all the old Waybeams out. So with it being a single line, yeah, we had to split it into 2 teams. And then during the planning stage, we spotted the starting position where the beams would fit. So what we've done is we took one section out at a time. So we took a section of the old beams out, got all the deck, prepped all the deck like that, yeah. Put your packers in, and then these are the holding down arrangements, well, the sides bits of them, yeah. So we'll put all that in, then we'll drop the beams in one at a time on each side of the half, and then put the transoms in. So these are the your new transoms, and then you've got your new holding down arrangements, which are these straps on here, yeah. So I just go by beam at a time, all the time, until we've done the full bridge. Once all the beams are installed and all the transoms are in position, it was all tied down properly, then we'll come along. We started laying out the base plates and start building the track, yeah. So with the base plates, we had LN base plates and LGN base plates. So the LGN ones hold the guardrail and the LN ones are in between them. So you put 2 LNs, then an LGN, yeah, go all the way along the beams. And what we've done is we had to use a key off again to install the 60-foot panels. So we worked from one end, drop the 60-foot panels in and pinned it down. So you pin one rail down, then put the gauging bars on. I've got a picture on, yeah. So on this end, we used the gauging bars to gauge the track, make sure it was all set right. And then as we go along, we'll just build 60-foot at a time. Once we've got all the way across the bridge with the 60-foots, we'll then brought the CWR in. Yeah. Then we lifted the CWR with these A-frames. So we lifted the guardrail out first, put the CWR in, then we used the 60-foot rails that we put in. We use that as a guardrail. So I know, yeah, no, I didn't mean to do that one. So this is just showing the completed works of it. So basically, that's all your plain line section that we're done on the Saturday night. Yeah, that's your bridge, where all your new timbers are, your new guardrail, everything fastened down nicely. That's a picture of one of your gathering panels. Yeah, and the same again on that's your guardrail and everything on that. Then for some sewy stuff, if nobody knows what it is, yeah, it's wood, that tells you there, made up of long fiberglass. Yeah, soaked in polyurethane and then cured and elevated temperature. The wood, you just class it as the same as timber. So when you drill in it, you'll use exactly the same tools as what you would for long timbers. Yeah. The only thing is you've got to watch for all the fibers. So sometimes you have like a hoover with you, but when you're drilling the sleep iron, you just hoover all the fibers away. And then that's the reason why we use it. The life service of 50 year. It's lighter than timber, 100% recyclable, minimum maintenance costs. It's quite easy to maintain. Yeah, very low conductive, electric conductive. And there's no need to chop trees down. That bit there was for Ben especially. He likes these trees. Yeah. And then the next one, this is just showing a couple of bits where I know that it's built, it's been installed. So the bottom left one, yeah, that's Newark Flat Crossing, which CRS done, didn't it? Yeah. Guys. Then this is the bridge just from Newark Flat Crossing, the River Aire bridge that we installed. And then this is bridge 330 at Doncaster, just outside Doncaster Station, which again was it looks like a nice little easy bridge, but it was quite difficult because of the possessions and isolation issues we had. And that's it for me, mate. It is. Any questions from anyone? Nice and simple.
Did you have any difficulties booking the gear upgrade, and how far in advance did you have to apply for that?
It's normally about 235, I think. Yes, but they're pretty good with it, with Volt as well.
Yeah.
Well, we're not very real anyway, because we've not very real that booked it, so.
It's usually 5 weeks out.
Yeah.
But midweek, you'll get pretty much like crane anytime midweek, I would suggest. You get odd weekend where they're busy. I mean, they're taking a 1 hour use at the moment because of work, lack of work.
Yeah, it tends not use on them. But it's good, so we beams are good, I think.
So how did you consolidate the track either side of the bridge once it was in?
So we initially give it a Canizo back and then we're tamped it. So we bought a tamper and tamped it, and then we've done track monitoring afterwards. So we've done 7 days track monitoring, whereas with the beams, the overhanging the beams, we Canizo back them every day.
Did you access the tamper through the main line, or did you bring it in from the? It was the main line tamper. So yeah, so that was booked to come in. We just set up.
So what we done, we had a train on there, and also we bought a train and looked sorted it down.
But the main line tamper.
Yeah.
Very nice.
How else, anybody from chat?
Are there any questions on the chat?
Obviously,
Chat, John Bain chat.
there's a Teams, there's
Is
a
it?
couple of people on Teams. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I don't want to cut them off.
Fine. people on
Just
Teams.
just up here. Yeah, no questions.
Nothing at the moment. Yeah, no questions.
No, all good.
At the moment. Yeah, it's quite a complicated job, mainly a multi-discipline. Like structures always difficult. Never know what you're going to find when you link up the old beams. Quite a challenge with the signalling as well. Having to perform the signalling alteration, and that has to go through a whole process.
How did you break the signaling system?
Well, I did ask, we said, no, there was a bit, put it a slide in, but he forgot, so.
Right.
Basically, you just false feed the trust.
Yeah.
Basically,
We used to work in the Tersdale Junction area where the Leamside line is similar configuration. And won't mention his name, but the P Wednesday have the longest set of jump leads I've ever seen.
We've For that other job that we've done, that bridge job that we've done exactly the same, that River Aire bridge, whereas we're like from here, we're about 50 metres on the East Coast Main Line. So they've done exactly the same, they've rigged that so that we could work right up to the East Coast Main Line with the train gone fully past the leg.
I was gonna ask a question, what Alex has raised it. My experience of Waybeam bridges is you don't really know what you're gonna find underneath
that's it.
until you lift it out. So what sort of contingency did you have in place, and did you have to do any remedial works?
Yeah, so recently we've been using a company called Bottomley's based out of Middlesbrough. And they basically, Sekisui, they're the only company. So when we purchase the beams, they come in a bulk. Then Bottomley's will take them to their factory in Seaside, like near Thornaby, and basically cut them down to size. Put any, like I say, it's a bitumen bridge, or they'll cut the inlets for the boring bitumen, stuff like that, so they can do all the cots and what have you. They're the only company in the country that do it. Before we were using Sekisui's supplier in Germany, but that was just taking so long to get stuff across. So now we can order the beams direct from Japan, and they can come straight into the country, straight into Bottomley's. They'll store them for us, and obviously as the designs come through and we understand exactly like the exact specification that's required, they can basically fabricate it to the correct size. From like a structure perspective, Bottomley's again, like they're really good because they do all the steel work and what have you. And they've got really good teams like arc welding, and they can tack repair. Obviously they clean everything off. They apply what is it like? Urban like on like a coat.
Yeah, very
Yeah, like a coat of paint like for steel. And they do all that work for you. So like really good. They fabricate all the steel work, all the holding down arrangements, the transims, the packers.
So we would always have a couple of platers on shift from Darlington workshops, and plenty and bits of steel sheet, you know, for the holes that you were going to find. And then when you started poking, you know, with a bar, they would get bigger.
It's a similar thing really. It's just that we don't really have that skill set in house anymore. So we use this company called Bottomley's. So
You just don't know until you take the beams up
basically,
what you're gonna get.
Yeah, you don't.
You
You only see so much from underneath the bridge.
particularly difficult when it's running over a river.
Well, he used to send us out in little boats.
Okay.
Didn't need a boat that was right up the river on that time, on it?
Yeah, it was flooded as well.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
originally,
It was flooded.
if you go back to the first picture, originally where we were going to put the cyclone out, actually flooded 2 days before. So quite lucky, and you would have needed a dinghy to go to the toilets, which would have been a bit of a disaster.
Why is that not coming up? Isn't it?
But yeah, just make sure you got all the provision on site. This one it was challenging from a job perspective, but we were given enough time really. We had a 9-day blockade, right, which was good life. So it always helps to have a bit more time to. We had to react to a couple of things that we like ballast retention at the end of the bridge wasn't particularly well designed. So again, Bottomley's, couple of conference calls, got the designers involved, like, and they turned around the ballast retention like steel plating to actually sit at the end of the bridges under the beams and what have you. They turned that round in less than 24 hours, which was good.
So that bridge would be pretty new, was it? Will it be part of the Selby diversion, or was it the old East Coast Main Line bridge when it ran through Selby? Because it was twin tracks at one time, wasn't it?
That's a good question. It would have been, it was twin track.
It was a twin track, so I think that was probably original stuff.
It was part of the original route.
Yeah, we just
Single
got
track.
to renew the beams over single track that were kept.
Yes.
So it would be shot, but another one.
Yes.
Yes, yeah, the walkways and that weren't particularly
Yeah, I
good
was
quality. Yeah, so
Well, to be fair, that the beams that we took out, they Were they not 80 something? For the base plates and that, which was probably the Selby diversion time, wasn't it? Mid-80s.
That's just as old as the metal, so it's pretty young.
Oh, yeah.
Terms.
GeoWeb, you wanna, Sal, you wanna explain that, what that is, what it does?
So I've got a picture of it.
Yes, does. Is it not?
Is there any need to improve the geometry, or was it pretty good? Like for like,
Definitely make it improvement, yeah. A bit like Chelsea World of Adventures, to be fair. Was in good condition. So like track geometry wise, like big improvement. Yeah, but obviously, like from a design perspective as well, like tagging schemes and that, like it would help with the aligning the ends of the bridges and stuff to get a smoother sort of transition on and off.
still plenty packings under the beams?
Yeah, I mean, this one wasn't too bad. Like some of them, like the designer don't quite get it right, or it can become. These are quite challenging jobs from a design perspective, to be fair. We've had a couple of jobs that have gone like not too well
Yeah.
for the design perspective.
So also on this one was S&C just at the time. So this end of the bridge was a big, wasn't it, E-switch, I think, turnout, which were all out of camp. Get all the alignment right on it, line up on the bridge, so it was quite a bit follow-up damping to it.
Needed stress there as well. So
So the geocell, yeah, that's just for strengthening when they run off on the bridge. So we dig, I think it was about 400 mil depth we went down, yeah, I put the geocell in at 150, I think it was. And then we filled it full of sand, compacted it all. And you put your 2 back on top of it, and then we had another cut 100 mil of ballast on top.
Like
Just to strengthen it off the bridge.
like a honeycomb.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can see it there, Connie.
You and Bob years ago.
Yeah.
It was promising a bit.
Going
But
back
2
a
layers
couple of years.
for the chuckings.
Yeah.
So that's still involved in a couple of years to do the big,
Well, they did,
Oh, yeah, job got
Yeah.
good up. Yes,
Can I compete one?
Wilson Peak.
Can I get it?
the trouble at Newham Bog is that each road individually over the years, the department of ways, sort of just had separate job, and I think they went, did they go back in and tie it all together?
There were put some super glue, it's what they call Hen Hill Bridge, because I always used to take visitors up there, and the big buses used to come to see us. I used to stand on the side of the track, wait for a train to go past. Do that, and I'll bounce up and down.
Yeah, you can see the S&C there that we had to come all the way down here to Tamped to get all the alignment right on it. And then this river was basically all over here.
Yeah.
Was
Well,
all there. We were going to have welfare in there, weren't you?
No, yeah.
Was it that
The
side?
original plan was to have the
Yeah.
welfare. This is a field, believe it or not.
Yeah.
And there's like an access point just there. And like you see the stairs. And we were going to put the welfare
Cabins and offices. Out there, so luckily, Gary did say I was crazy thinking about putting it there, so we moved up to Templars.
Could have put it on a boat.
Could have would have been a bit like Waterworld.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
are there any more questions from? Floor?
What about beams or screw fixing base plate?
Yes.
Yeah. Rather than they haven't come with a cast in shoulder yet.
No.
So basically, we'll drill.
Was it LMBS bits on the drill, when you drill them, they're going on an angle and off, so to hold it a bit better.
Mhm.
Was,
Yeah, so you use like basically the standard drill, like you can get them specifically made for it if you, the standard drill, it will work. Chambray now make one that does the actual countersink, so you should have a 25 mil countersink into the beam. avoids any splitting. Sean Ray now make a drill bit that actually does the whole thing. So you'll drill in and it'll actually like drill the counter sump bit as well. So, yeah,
I know,
it's really hard to get hold of the drill bits apparently.
I know he's not here tonight, but Glenn has resisted, using the screw fastening. It's still building in, a future maintenance requirement, with the screws rather than, cast in shoulders. I'll be interested to see if you have any issues.
What do you mean, right, resin fixer base plate into?
Yeah, much like you cast into a concrete sleeper.
Right.
Whereas, you know, you're still gonna have guys out taking in chair screws and a bit of ferrules and stuff like that. Be interested to see how much movement you get in the near or distant future.
It'd be interesting to see, like, I don't think anyone that they're guessing how long these beams will last. I've heard people say 100 years, people saying 50 years, like my old presentation of what have you. Truth will be in the pudding for them, but it's relatively new technology.
There's on the sleepers, there's been some questions about the thermal capabilities, and they've had some wide gauge due to heat expansion on the sleepers. Just, you know, again, be interesting to see. Well, I mean, they'll be fairly well held down,
Yes,
with your steelwork fixings, but
Are they the composite ones? Because you get the, it's side cut,
Yeah, cycle ones.
the black ones,
Plastic.
so you get plastic.
yeah, I'm not really sure. Yeah, maybe different ones.
we're currently running doing a job at Ferry Hill for the S&C, Ferry Hill South, going on with the STFs, the Stilly branch. And we've got a test site in there where we've re-timbered a point end with FFU, FFP timbers. So again, that's under monitoring and what have you. Currently see how it holds up and what have you. To be fair, like, personally, I think it's quite a good material to work with.
Yeah, the bridge never budged after the track monitoring, not there.
No.
Only bit of movement,
fairly-
only bit of movement you had was just off the tire and the floating ends. Which we just tangle up all the time, and after a couple of days it was solid.
So that's all. Yeah.
That we're done, question one?
Yeah.
Anything else? Well, I'd just like to thank Lee and Alex for that. Very much. Give them a quick round. Very good presentation. Yeah, nice to do, Lee. Thank you.
Okay. So our next meeting again will be a hybrid. It will be regarding the strengthening of Yarn Viaduct, carefully underpinning a working Victorian structure, and that will be on the 3rd of June at St Rail Academy. Thank you, everyone.
I think one of the things that needs doing before that is that
That'd be good.
somebody has a word with the civil engineering department here. Make sure the civil students come along as well as the rail students. What's the next job then?
That all depends really, if next is given it or not. There's a Monk Seat S&C one that's coming out, I think.
Right.
But we're helping James and that. And Tommy's team with bits and pieces, so, and then Alex.
James Sykes is on the ball as
Yeah.
well. I can see his name there.
And Alex has got a few jobs coming up on you, mate.
Yeah, you've got a couple of big ones this year. So up at Belford.
Yeah.
S&C renewal and main line renewal through the level crossing, like Cat 11, through level crossing on the down road. And then there's a design tank. It's all like the S&C goes down, like it's like sort of in a dip. But there's a design tank as well, like well, basically the whole Belford area.
Belford area.
So that'd be quite a challenge. Also got North Allerton East Junction.
Yeah.
On the Len 2. Just off the mains there, like, so that's a 6-point end renewal coming on. Then we've got Red Car All this year as well at the back end of the year, which is a 5-point end renewal. So they're the big ones. They're the headliners for the year amongst the 60, 70 other projects we got going. So
What's the big job out? Is there a job out west at the minute?
no idea,
On the
do
west
you know?
coast.
No, Newcastle Carlisle. The whole lot of kit went up last week and we've got notices about trains that are coming, engineering trains that are coming at midnight to stable.
Not on the Carlisle, it's west coast shut at the minute. Or has been last weekend, sorry.
Not us.
Switch that off, James.
It's just yours.